Have you ever stepped outside on a cold morning, pulled your phone out to check something quickly, and noticed the battery suddenly dropping faster than usual, or worse, shutting off entirely? It feels almost unfair. The same device that lasts all day in warm weather struggles to survive even a few hours in the cold. It's one of those everyday frustrations that most of us accept without really understanding. But behind that simple inconvenience is a fascinating mix of chemistry, physics, and engineering quietly at work inside every battery you use. Today, we will uncover what cold weather is really doing inside your battery and why it makes power seem to vanish right here on History of Simple Things. To understand why batteries hate the cold, we need to start with what a battery actually is. At its core, a battery is a chemical device. It stores energy not as electricity, but as potential chemical reactions. Inside, there are two electrodes, an anode and a cathode, separated by an electrolyte. When you use your device, a chemical reaction occurs that releases electrons, sending them through a circuit and powering whatever you're using. In modern gadgets like smartphones, this usually involves lithium-ion batteries, which rely on lithium ions moving back and forth between electrodes. Now here's where temperature comes in. Chemical reactions don't all happen at the same speed. They depend heavily on temperature. In warmer conditions, particles move faster, which makes reactions happen more easily. But in colder temperatures, everything slows down. The ions inside your battery move more sluggishly, and the reactions that generate electricity become less efficient. It's not that the battery suddenly loses its energy, it just can't deliver it as effectively. This slowdown creates two noticeable effects. First, your battery drains faster, or at least it appears to. Second, your device may shut off unexpectedly, even when the battery percentage says there's still charge left. That's because the battery can't supply enough voltage to keep the device running, even though some energy is still stored inside. This is why your phone might go from 30% to dead in minutes when you're out in the cold. The battery isn't empty, it's just temporarily unable to perform. Once it warms up again, you might even see the battery percentage recover, which can feel a bit like magic, but is really just chemistry returning to normal. Cold weather also increases something called internal resistance. This is the natural opposition to the flow of electric current inside the battery. As temperatures drop, internal resistance rises, making it harder for electricity to flow. Higher resistance means more energy is lost as heat within the battery itself, further reducing efficiency. For lithium-ion batteries, there's another challenge. At very low temperatures, lithium ions can start to move unevenly or even form deposits on the anode, a process called lithium plating. While this is more of a concern during charging than discharging, it can permanently damage the battery over time. That's why many devices slow down charging or prevent it altogether when temperatures are too low. It's not just phones either. Cold weather affects all kinds of batteries, including the ones in cars. If you've ever had trouble starting a car on a cold morning, the battery is often the culprit. Car batteries rely on chemical reactions too, and those reactions slow down in the cold just like in your phone. At the same time, engines actually require more power to start when it's cold, because the oil inside thickens and mechanical parts are harder to move. So the battery is being asked to do more work at the exact moment it's least capable. This double challenge is why car batteries are often rated with something called cold cranking amps, which measures how well they can perform in low temperatures. It's also why older batteries tend to fail first in winter, because their chemical systems are already worn down and less efficient. Interestingly, extreme heat can also damage batteries, but in a different way. While cold slows things down, heat speeds reactions up too much, which can lead to faster degradation, reduced lifespan, and even safety risks. So while your battery might perform better in the short term on a warm day, long-term exposure to high temperatures can permanently reduce its capacity. In that sense, batteries actually prefer a middle ground, not too hot, not too cold. Room temperature around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius is generally ideal. That's where the internal chemistry operates efficiently without being stressed. Modern devices try to manage these temperature effects as much as possible. Smartphones, for example, have built-in systems that monitor battery temperature and adjust performance accordingly. If your phone feels sluggish in the cold, it's not just the battery, it's also the device protecting itself. Some phones will dim the screen, limit processing power, or even shut down entirely to prevent damage. Electric vehicles face similar challenges, but on a much larger scale. Their batteries are far bigger, and temperature management becomes a critical part of design. That's why many electric cars include thermal management systems that heat or cool the battery as needed, keeping it within an optimal range. Without these systems, cold weather could significantly reduce driving range and performance. So what can you actually do about it? The simplest solution is to keep your devices warm. That doesn't mean overheating them, just protecting them from extreme cold. Keeping your phone in your pocket instead of an outer bag, for example, allows your body heat to help maintain a stable temperature. Even small differences can make a noticeable impact. So the next time you step out into the cold and watch your battery percentage dip faster than usual, you'll know exactly what's happening behind the screen. It's not just power draining away, it's chemistry slowing down, resistance rising, and your battery doing its best in conditions it was never meant to love. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.